That's the terrible thing I did. Okay, but luckily, all you've had to listen to is my thank yous and babbling. Megan, thank you for bothering to go the extra mile and joining us over your phone. I know it's not awesome to have to play technology juggle. Would you like to introduce the project, or would you like Drake to take the mic?
I can introduce the project. Just give me 1 minute, and then I'll turn it over to Drake. So just introduce the project. It is a plan development application for the property located at 135 West Gulf Avenue. The property size is 1.19 acres, or about 8,200 square feet. It's in the Ballpark neighborhood. The zoning for the property is FBUN1. And the applicant, as you mentioned, is proposing 6 townhomes. Originally, it was 2 like triplexes, but the design has changed. There's no longer a 6-car detached garage being accessed from the alley. 3 of the units will be accessed from Gold, and 3 of the units will be accessed from the alley. And this is adjacent directly to Jefferson Park. And so a lot of the conversations that I've had with the applicant is about embracing that opportunity for families to be near a park. And that with the design of the building, including windows and just transparency for those families living there, personally, I'm a mom, so I can't imagine how awesome it would be to like let my kids play and be able to visually keep an eye on them from my home. So with that, I'll go ahead and turn the time over to Drake.
All right, thanks, Megan. I got a little presentation just kind of put together just to kind of show you guys what the project looks like. Let's see if I can share my screen here.
Thanks so much. And you both are pretty quiet on my end. I've got my volume turned all the way up, so if there's any way you could speak more into the microphone, it might just be me. I restarted my computer right before the meeting, so, but that'd be
All
great.
right, well, I'll try to talk louder if that helps. All right, are you able to see this?
It looks great, thank you.
Sweet. So basically, here's our site right up against Jefferson Park here on Goltz Avenue, 135 West Goltz Avenue. As she said, we've got a 0.19 acre site. We're building 6 townhomes. They're all 2.5 stories. It's about 60% lot coverage. We've got a 15-foot front yard setback, and then 6-foot interior side yard setbacks. And we are set back about 22 feet from the rear of the property. That's the site plan. Oh my goodness. Oh,
Could
I'm
you tell
sorry.
us about what's happening that space between the 2 sets of 3s? That it looks like vegetation to me. Looks like that's what the green specks are.
Yeah, so there's going to be a little bit of landscaping, and in the front there'll be landscaping, and in the back there'll be landscaping. But on the sides of it, it's a walkway, and then there's doors that are also accessed between the units as well. These are entryways right here, but there will be some landscaping along the sides of the sidewalk. So for this, we're going through a plan development because we wanted to create lots without street frontage is primarily the reason. So we can make this a for sale product, try to sell this to people and get people in here who really care about the community and want to see it grow. And we're also asking for a reduction in the rear yard setback just because our building is cantilevering over 3 feet into the rear yard setback. This is just for the livability of the units and being able to fit 3-bedroom units in there. Here's the elevations from the street look like. As you can see, I don't know if it's super obvious from this drawing, but the garage doors are actually recessed from the facade, and then the front doors, like there's a lot of articulation. The front doors are bumped out, and then there's some balconies on it as well.
So this is what we would see from Goltz.
This is what you would see if you're walking down Gultz.
Okay.
And then this is what you would see if you were in the park or walking down West Temple. We tried to, like Megan said, we tried to include a lot of windows on this side and give good visibility to the park. And if there's families, they can see, their kid running around in the park from the living room and their bedroom and kind of make it feel, architecturally aesthetic.
So this has changed quite a bit from the staff report.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, it has changed. We made modifications because we basically were having issues, turning radius issues with getting into the detached garages. So we had to eliminate those, and I think that making these changes is actually going to improve the project quite a bit. Now we have attached garages, which I think will provide more security to the residents. Hopefully, less people are less likely to try to break into a detached garage, and I think it'll just be an overall better product. Here's the side that's facing the west. We try not to have as much glazing and on this side just to, kind of respect neighbors' privacy. And it's a fairly simpler design. And then here's what you would see from Fremont Street, or if you're on the southern end of the park. And here's just a basic look at the floor plans. As you can see on the first level, we've got an attached garage, and then we've got a bedroom and a bathroom down there. And then you can head upstairs, living room, dining room, and a kitchen. And then when you head up to the top floor, there's 2 bedrooms and balconies overlooking Goltz. And that's really all I got, but I'm happy to answer any questions.
I know there's a few folks from Central Ninth, that specific area of Central Ninth, who signed on specifically to check this out. So I definitely want to give them in particular the opportunity to ask questions, since they'll be living right close to your project. Feel free to use, raise your hand, so to speak. Let's see. Could we go back to the layout slide?
Yeah. On for the site plan. Are you referring to this slide?
Fraser, I'm going to unmute you so you can. Oh, you already did. So you can ask some questions, follow-ups.
Marcus, why don't you go ahead and ask some questions? I've got some as well, Amy, if you don't mind.
Sure don't.
Actually, Dr. Meckler here, so with the Central Ninth Community Council. My first question is, do we know when this will be on the open house website so that we can share this out to people that they can inspect it a little bit more, since these plans are different than the ones that are out there now?
Yeah, I can answer that question. Can you guys hear me now? I'm on my phone. Okay, So I have my work plan up here, and I'm the staff assigned. I just received the new plans today. So I've gone ahead and routed them out for department comments. And then this is your first time seeing them. I know that. But I'll make sure copies are sent out to the community council and the open house website is updated. I'll try to get that updated on Monday. The way we run our updates, it might not show on the website until the following week, which is Christmas week. Um, so I'm just looking at my work plan. So usually we need to have a 21-day amount of time to give our management time to review the report. So I won't imagine this will go to Planning Commission until the end of January, if not the first meeting in February, just depending on comments and revisions. So I hope that answers all your questions.
Are we planning on expanding the comment period since it's a shortened comment window with seeing almost completely different plans than was originally proposed?
Yeah, and that's something I brought up with the applicant that, because this is completely different, I feel like we probably should renotice it out to the community. And so I can get that notice sent early next week. And then we'll have to update the on-site, Drake. So you'll have to go post a new on-site posting, but I'll send that to you. And then the comment period doesn't actually end until the 3rd. So I think if I get that out, we typically don't. Plans evolve as comments are received all the time. So I'm not planning on changing the 45 days, but I will make sure notices go out.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Go ahead.
Amy, may I ask some questions, please?
Was about to introduce you again. Go for it.
I apologize. Hi, I'm Fraser Nelson. I live on the park as well. Looking at this new scheme, how does the alleyway access play? Because are you going to pave the alleyway, or how will people be entering the units that are away from guests from the alley?
So the rear neighbors, or sorry, most southernmost the southernmost threeplex will be accessed from the alley. We do plan on improving the alley in some capacity. Not sure exactly if that's going to be with gravel or with asphalt yet.
Okay. And then when you talk about eyes on the park, it's really just the eastern facing units, the 2 units external to the group of 3, right? So it's those 2 units.
Yeah.
Okay. Are these units going to be for sale?
Yes.
Okay, great. And what are you anticipating for a price point?
I'm not sure exactly what we'll end up pricing them for at this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you could go back to that the one before you had the scheme.
The site plan.
Site plan, yeah.
Oh.
Or even this one is great. So along those, the West Temple side and along the alley side, and then to the lots adjacent to this lot, there are a number of both new trees and older trees. What are your plans around the urban forestry?
Are you talking? Sorry, I don't think I fully understood your question.
So on this lot, there are old trees that are right adjacent to the lot and adjacent to the neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
There are old trees to the east part of the lot that are within the boundary of the park, but overlay to this area. And there are new trees planted all along the alley, just off the lip of the alley. I'd just like to understand what your hopes are for those trees.
Well, we're definitely not going to be chopping down any trees that are, you know, we don't really plan on cutting down any trees in the park or on the alley or anything. But we do plan on planting some new trees in the front along Goltz, and then including some additional landscaping on our property as well.
And there's one old tree that lives on the side along there. Are you going to try and save that tree?
Let me see. I don't know what tree you are referring to.
It's kind of towards the back end of the project location and abuts both your property and the neighbor's property.
Yeah, I think if it doesn't affect our building, that we would leave it stand. We might have to trim it back a little bit for the building, but if if it doesn't affect our footprint, I wouldn't anticipate doing anything to it.
Okay. And is there a guarantee that these will be for sale and not purchased by a single person who then uses them all as rentals?
There is no guarantee that they will be for sale, but the whole point of us going through this process is to be able to subdivide them and make them for sale.
Okay, those are my questions. Thanks.
Amy, this is Janice. Could I ask some questions?
Go for it. And then after that, we can hear from Carrie.
And I would like to see the front elevation that's along the street again.
All right.
And this is a more design issue. I'm concerned about the garages all on this elevation, which is kind of more of a suburban type development with, car oriented. And so with the three garages, basically what's in your driveway or what's in your front yard is a driveway. And I know, like you've been trying to orient it differently, but from a design standpoint, to me, you haven't really created a visually interesting design from the street and which would be, in my view, in the front of the building, the front facade. That's, I guess, basically my comments. But like I said, it's more a design issue, and I don't find this particular design very interesting.
And this is Megan. I'm just gonna jump in here. Drake, we talked a little bit about the garages facing Golds and the appearance of the pedestrian-oriented environment. So just for everyone on this call, this is something that staff has talked about as well. And so I'll work with the applicant on that point.
Thank you.
Just real quick before Carrie has her hand off, did you have your hand up and then put it down?
I did. It was just something Janice was saying. She was asking about that old tree. I just wanted to point out that none of that is on this property. It's all on my property. I'm actually the neighboring lot. So there shouldn't be any tree cutting, as far as I can tell, for development on the land. That's mostly what I wanted to comment.
Okay, you're at 137 volts then?
That is correct.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Amy, do you care if I just jump in really quickly?
I was just about to ask if you would.
Okay, great. Drake, can you show the alley view again? Would you mind? So these are the garages that will be on the alley, right? And entered off the alley.
Correct.
What are your plans for lighting back there on the alley? As you know, the city doesn't light alleys, and living on a dark alley, they can be pretty dark sometimes, which makes them feel less safe for people. And I think the proximity on the park also. I'd just like to know what your lighting plan is on that alley side. Thank you.
At this time, we don't really have any lighting plans set up. But I think on the back of our building, we'll probably install some like motion sensor lighting on the back of our building. But that's about all we have.
And Megan, I know when we've talked about lighting before at community meetings, I'm not sure if they're meetings you've been at, but I know that at least Councilmember Mono's been really interested in thinking that through when we approve developments on alleys, because the city doesn't like the alley.
Right. And so as part of my review, I have already sent this off to Andrew Claus for comment. And we have lighting standards that I'll go through when I review the plans. But the police are also recommending added security measures such as increased lighting and cameras to deter criminal activity in the garage unit. So that was one comment that we already have, and I'll follow through on that as well. So again, I just got the plans today, but I'll be doing a full review through our zoning ordinance. And that will include lighting as well.
Perfect. Thanks, Megan. Thank you.
Sure.
Oh, Lee, why don't you ask before me? Especially since of your proximity.
All right. So most of my comments that I was going to bring up have been changed because of the design. Mostly it was the setbacks I was worried about, that garage not really applying or fitting what the setback should be. So this new design does seem to fix a lot of that. One thing I'm curious about, I can't really read the measurements on this screen, but from my understanding with the F-Bun 1, these are for 2.5-story homes, and this looks like a 3-story. So just curious on that.
Yes. So the FBUN1 zoning is buildings cannot be taller than 30 feet tall, and they're 2.5 stories. So there's a definition of what a half story is, and it can be livable space within the roof and within the gable of the roof. So you just have to have a maximum pitch of 30 feet. You can't be taller than 30 feet. And then your roof actually slants down. So the walls are shorter than they would be on a typical story.
Okay. I'm guessing that's shown in the measurement. I just can't read them on my tiny screen. Okay. Okay. So, and I guess we don't need the sideways row house anymore thing. I guess, I'd like to study this once it gets posted, but, just on a cursory, most of my complaints seem to be resolved. Could you go back to the street view one with the setbacks and all that? Yeah. Okay. So you got a 15-foot yard proposed, 6 foot, not 4 foot. Okay, cool. And you said the way the zoning is, you're supposed to have a 25-foot rear yard. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're asking for a bit of exemption on that. Okay. On that south facing one, or on the south unit, where's the doors. It didn't look like it had doors next to the garage like the street facing ones. Are they
Yeah,
going to be in that alley
yeah.
or
The
not alley,
door,
I
the
guess?
door, the doors on these side units, if you could see right here, kind of
Where
the
the notches.
where the notches are, those are
Okay.
those are doors.
Okay. And so there's going to be no doors facing the street or alley. They're all going to be facing either each other or east west.
There's actually a front door facing the street on all of the northern units, and then on the south unit, there's just going to be a door facing the sides and then out the front to the north.
Gotcha. Okay. Thank you.
I'm going to pop in and ask my question if that's okay. Drake, can you tell us a little bit about and again, likely I was basing my thinking, even though I knew that there was going to be a revision, I was basing my thinking on the previous diagrams. Could you tell us about the plan for fencing in this property?
Yeah, so um, right now we don't have. I think we're going to put about maybe a short fence along the park, um, but I don't anticipate putting too much other fencing because it needs to be so it's accessible um, to the residents. And there's a lot of driveways coming in off the back. Where
That makes sense to me. I think in the initial drawing, I saw a phrase like privacy fence, and I thought like, which side would that happen on? But that's good to know. Fraser, would you like to raise some more stuff?
Yes, I appreciate that, Amy. Megan, this is more for you. As you know, because of Marcus and Friends of Jefferson Park's hard work, we've got a lot of improvements coming to our park. And I'm hoping that as this plan moves forward, particularly around issues like lighting and Drake, we are anticipating a walking path to by the alley and then along the side, the eastern side of the units. So I just want to make sure that those efforts are well coordinated and understood as you move forward as the city moves forward with its design and as you move forward with yours.
And what I can do is I can forward the plans to public land so we can coordinate, the connections of this development to the park and vice versa. Yeah, we do that if we need to adjacent to any city-owned public lands.
And I would note, Drake, that that includes human scale lighting along the proposed walking path, as well as some benches and garbage cans and other amenities for park users. So you may want to keep that in mind as the alley improvements are considered and as your lighting plans are considered.
There is a question in the chat.
I was going to say, and that might be from Marcus or Doug.
And I'm assuming this is directed towards Drake. Drake, can you see the chat or do you want us to read it to you?
Yeah, I can see the chat. It says, "May I ask why the south-facing units into the park don't have balconies like Golt's?" I think a big part of the reason we put the balconies on Golt's was to kind of give it a step back feeling and give the facade of it some architectural interest. And putting balconies on the south facing units we would have to ask for even a larger reduction in the rear yard setback.
Well, earlier we'd noted that there wasn't quite as much visibility onto the park at different points, so maybe that would be a nice addition.
that's definitely something that we can consider.
Marcus, I'm trying to find you so you can unmute.
Yep, I'm
Oh,
unmuted.
excuse me, Doug.
That's okay. I think just speaking personally, I think the more you can do to make this project feel like it integrates with the park, the better for us. You know, we've looked at this lot for a long time and thought that whatever goes there has an amazing opportunity having a park on two sides and it really does feel like it is in the park. And I think as residents that use the park, we would like it to feel like it really is an asset, a part of the, an asset to the park. And the more that the residents that live there are able to utilize the park and, enter and exit to the park on the park side of the property, I think is something that we would feel strongly would enhance the neighborhood.
I love that comment, Doug. It's as much as if somebody were to move into 500 East along Liberty Park, like all of a sudden you have the greatest lawn in Salt Lake, you know, that you don't have to mow. Well, thank you for joining us at such short notice. I don't want to cut off any conversation if it's happening organically or if any folks have other questions about how townhome platting works or anything like that. Carrie, let's hear it.
That it's not to that comment, but it's to the comment about the setback and the park. I mean, I echo what Fraser and Doug said, and I think personally it would be worth giving some more setback to have balconies over that park. I think it makes the units more enticing, and I think it achieves what the community is trying to achieve for that park. And hell, Frank and I might buy one of those units and exactly like Amy said, have grass we don't have to mow.
I like that idea as well, Carrie. Thank you. And I think the park is just growing in its amenities. And it would be a shame to have residents who aren't able to fully engage with the park. So maybe that can be one more change.
Lee, what are you thinking?
I just remembered something from the original proposal. I believe it mentioned setting up an HOA for this area. Is that still on the part of the plan?
Yeah, so the HOA will only be for this parcel
Well,
specifically.
yeah.
But yeah, it's gonna there's some issues that you have when you share common walls and when you share an exterior facade that it's usually easiest for an HOA to manage that.
If you have any questions about what it's like to be part of a very small HOA, the residents of the 5 townhomes on Merrimack Avenue can give you some hands-on practical advice. And yeah, we talk about watering schedules and, what's the eventual timeline to replace our collective roof, shared insurance. Very glamorous stuff, but stuff that matters. Okay. Thank you, Drake. I appreciate, again, don't want to cut off conversation, but I very much appreciate you taking the time to meet with us, especially on, a pretty constrained schedule given the holiday and our other very active community schedule this week. Thanks to you too, Megan.
Of
No
course, thanks
problem.
thank you guys for having me and for giving the input. And I think that we're going to look at maybe putting some balconies on those south-facing units, and hopefully that'll help make the park feel more engaged.
I think that would be fantastic. I love that suggestion.
Awesome. All right.
All right. Have a great evening.
Thanks.
Appreciate it.
You as well. Bye.
For sale product in Ballpark, guys. Central 9th, Jefferson Park. It's exciting. Fingers crossed that the platting works out. Okay, second part of the meeting, let's do some board elections. We have 2 positions open for election or re-election, depending on how it shakes out. Got Jeff Sandstrom and also Kevin Clouch. Be happy to entertain some other motions. As a board member, you get the pleasure of your other board members' company and helping to organize a monthly meeting. Oh, speaking of, John Margetts is just rejoining the meeting. Voting on different letters that we may or may not send to the city or the planning commission. Exciting choices like this. But in all reality, these are some of the conversations that we care about a lot. I do like to make jokes about zoning, though. All right. Can I entertain any motions, or shall we introduce Jeff and or Kevin again and talk about their qualifications? And we're happy to entertain motions.
Just a point of clarification, are you looking for nominations in your motions or?
That would be lovely. Thank you. Yes. Folks can self-nominate. Folks can nominate others.
I would nominate Kevin for renewal on the board.
Thanks, Jeff. That's generous of you. Kevin, would you be willing to unmute and talk about yourself? I see you're unmuted, Kevin. Oh, there you go. I think Kevin is balancing a piano recital tonight with this meeting. Not his own piano recital, I think. Kevin, we can't hear you right now, but I can see your mouth moved. All right.
You hear me now?
Got a little bit of fuzz. Let's hear it.
Am I being heard?
Yes.
There we go. Okay. Well, that's different. I was using your narrative, but I guess that's not going to work. So y'all are hearing me, correct?
You're a little fuzzy, but we can hear you.
So I'm in a recital, unfortunately. So I'm as it is. I'm Kevin. I've lived in the ballpark for over a decade. Bought my first home here and raised the majority of my family here. I did raise my mom here, so kidding. The majority of my family get whatever. I make corny jokes, so that's something you guys have to deal with if I remain. If you only retain one of us, I would recommend that you retain Jeff. Jeff is an indispensable component of our council. I'm a bit more dispensable. I'm very busy. I'm very focused on safety and security of our neighborhood. Like I said, I've raised my kids here, and I'm very concerned when they navigate our neighborhood. My wonderful partner, I'm concerned when she navigates our neighborhood, and that's kind of been my focus. I've worked I spent a great deal of effort and focus upon the safety of our neighborhood, the drivability of our neighborhood, the ability to. I live here, I work here, I drive these streets every single day, both to get to work and as a part of my work. I'm often in and out and all over our neighborhood. I literally had to wrestle a knife out of a man's hand after he stabbed a man in our neighborhood. That's how our neighborhood. And so my focus has been kind of on those kinds of issues. I literally had to intervene so that when a man was attempting to strangle a woman in our neighborhood, both of them actually were right next to Jefferson Park. One was in Jefferson Park. Our neighborhood is struggling. And so my focus is there. I went to school here. I went to Westminster College. I got a bachelor's degree in psychology, got my master's in clinical mental health counseling. I do a lot of counseling in this space. I do a lot of, like I said, I do all of my work in this space. So if there are no better candidates, I'd be willing to continue to attempt to represent the Ballpark Community Council and to either way, I'll be my best for the neighborhood, to continue to do my best for the council.
Kevin, one of the things that has most impressed me as I've worked with you over the years are the very informed questions that you ask about our behavioral health system. So I'm very glad that you shared your qualifications and work. Are you comfortable? It's hard to ask this without, I believe you're also a veteran, yes?
I would make a joke, but yes, of course. I am a veteran. So I've done many things. I've got a clinical history. I've got a bit of a history in law enforcement. I fought 2 wars. I'm one of the few people that the military has looked at and said, hey, the country might be safer if you just skip the next war. When I came back, I was pretty blown up. But I've, a lot of surgery, and here I am back at it. I've done just about everything. And the majority of my time since Iraq has been in this neighborhood. So I do care deeply for this neighborhood. I do want things to improve. I want our families to be able to thrive in the neighborhood, and that's kind of been my focus. I have a different perspective than some of the other board members, but I think that's a good thing. I think that diversity of thought is the strength of any organization. I just get locked up. No,
We can still hear
I
you.
just got locked out. So you heard my little monologue too. Did I get locked out now? So I think that diversity of thought and viewpoint are the strength of most organizations. That has to be coupled with the ability to come together and to disagree agreeably. I think that we can disagree better, to quote the governor. I think that we can learn to disagree better as a society. This election is an example, but yeah, so that's my goal, is to provide a diverse viewpoint and focus on the safety of our neighborhood.
Thank you very much for sharing your experience, Kevin. I know although you are very civically active, you are also a private person. So I really appreciate it.
Well, a lot of the things I don't share, I don't share my main source of employment mostly. And I know that creates contention or frustration. I just don't, because they don't like me to involve them in matters outside of that employment. There are reasons, there are good reasons, but it just is what it is. Which is odd, because they're happy to benefit from anything I learn at the community council. But if that concludes my speech, I'd nominate Jeff and encourage everyone to very seriously consider him for retention.
Thank you. And I'm sorry, been so taken by your comments. I did not read through our bylaws out loud, where it says that nominated candidates have the opportunity to make a speech stating their qualifications. And if a candidate is unable to attend the meeting, they may appoint a proxy to speak on their behalf. So, Kevin, thank you for stepping outside of your son's recital to share this with us. I appreciate that you are balancing competing demands. All right. Jeff Sandstrom, would you like to talk about why you would like to continue serving on the Ballpark Community Council?
Sure, I'd be happy to. My name's Jeff Sandstrom. I think most everybody knows me. A couple of facts about myself or information. I've been a homeowner in the neighborhood since 2001. I've been attending Ballpark Community Council meetings since about 2008. And I was asked to become a board member in 2012. I've also served as the probably the unofficial treasurer. Um, I'm also a loyal supporter of local business, including shopping, dining, and entertainment in the neighborhood. I like our quality of businesses in the neighborhood and like supporting them. I was able to accomplish, I spearheaded the revision of the bylaws, which was a long-awaited project we'd been hoping to finish prior, but we finally stuck that out and got the bylaws revised, which better meet the needs of the board and the council at large. Added a lot more flexibility into our bylaws so we can make adjustments as needed. I've been also happy to assist with letter writing, attending meetings on behalf of the community council, etc. I am also most motivated to continue serving on the council because of our amazing collection of diverse residents and businesses. I keep telling Amy after we've had a community meeting how amazed I am with the amount of people that actually really care about our neighborhood and are involved, and the quality people we are able to consider friends in our neighborhood, I think is a amazing tribute to the quality and the wealth of people we have here. So I'm happy to continue serving on the board if the members would like to re-elect me.
Jeff, I can't thank you enough for spearheading revising the bylaws. I am very sorry that it took such a serious knee injury and for you to be temporarily incapacitated for that to happen. But glad that you have recovered
kept me
since.
busy after surgery.
I can't speak highly enough of Jeff's connections in the greater Salt Lake City community. If you need anyone for anything, you should talk to Jeff because of, you know, a handyman, somebody to buy or sell a car, just any life service. Jeff knows who to call. And that's not trivial when you need some help. And I say that as somebody who texted Jeff when my heater went out at 9:30 p.m. on a weeknight. Less than half an hour, people were over fixing my heater. So have Jeff's number in your phone. It helps.
Oh no.
Sorry, Jeff.
I'd also like to state, is there any other nominations for additional board members to be considered?
Okay, so I'm just going to jump in real quick. My name is Christina. Rob, I'm the chair of the East Liberty Park Community Organization. And as a service to our fellow community councils, we actually pay for Zoom. So we are allowed to register members, which public organizations like the library are not. So we have created, just like we did last year for you all, a Zoom poll in which you can, make your choices. And technically, even though you have two nominations and two candidates, right? That makes it really easy. But we still need you to just unmute your or put on your videos real quick so that people can qualify that you are members of the neighborhood. And we don't do that. That happens as per how Ballpark goes about doing whatever they do according to their own bylaws. So if you'll just take a second to do that. Hello, everyone.
Oh, it's so fun to see faces over Zoom again. It's like the beginning of the pandemic.
It looks great. Okay, so then the second step that we just have to take on our end is that I have to ask one more time if there is any further nominations before I launch the poll. Okay, seeing none, I am officially launching this poll. Should be able to see it on your Zoom. Please let me know if you are having trouble. It looks like Aaron Boyce says that now an official neighbor in the area. Yay. We're just going to give it a couple of minutes, but I think we're good to go. Just in the essence of time, I'm just going to end the poll and then just turn it back over to your community council to do whatever you do next. And thanks for having us. This is a really great community you guys have. I'm always so happy to see you all working together. It's fantastic.
Thank you in turn, Christina. I'm happy to come and help tote garbage around at the 9th and 9th Street Festival again. I'm happy to do it anyway, but favors for favors, you know. Okay. Jeff and Kevin, we can look forward to continue our diverse and robust conversations. Thank you for your continued service on the board.
4 people.
I know you said something, Kevin, but I have no idea what it was. Nope. Okay. All right,
I said
folks.
you poor people.
I think I agree with you, Kevin, that
You would miss it.
a diversity of opinions and life experiences is great to get us where we need to go. All right, folks, as promised, it's a short meeting. This took under an hour. That's exciting. And we look forward to sending out more details about our January meeting with Mayor Mendenhall as they develop.
Amy, what day is that? Is that going to be, that's the second week of January, isn't it? Just as a reminder.
Yes, it is not. We made the decision with her office to hold it on Thursday, January 9th, rather than Thursday, January 2nd, because January 2nd is still part of the public school holiday, for example. And so there might not be a lot of people who are like really back in the swing of things yet, if at all. So we wanted to make sure to give the meeting its fair due. So we'll look forward to that. And we are working with Salt Lake Community College to get a larger a larger meeting space for that meeting. And we thank them for their generosity.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Same
everyone.
to you.
All righty. And thanks again to so many of you who showed up so many days this week to engage about the community. It's a lot, right? And you deserve some props for it. I've seen you guys a lot this week. I bet it caught other people's attention as well, you know? So thanks so much. Quality people, Jeff. All right, I'm going to end the meeting.
Thanks.
Have a good one.
Thanks a lot. Have a good night.
Yeah.